Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to take an object that we literally see and hear almost every single day, the piano, and we are just going to strip it right back to its absolute foundations. Let's dive straight into this really intriguing excerpt titled The Origin and Mechanism of the Piano.
Who invented the piano and how does it work? You know, those two simple questions actually open the door to one of the most fascinating stories in all of musical history. We're not just looking at some dry, dusty historical timeline today. No way. We are uncovering a moment of sheer mechanical genius that basically changed the way the entire world experiences music forever.
All right, let's slow things down just a bit and start with Section 1, the origin question.
So to really understand the who here, we have to zoom out and look closely at the musical landscape of the late 17th century. Back then, the harpsichord was basically the king of keyboard instruments. But it had this massive, super frustrating limitation. The strings were plucked by these tiny little quills, which meant musicians had zero control over the volume. Literally none. No matter how hard or how soft you mashed down on a key, the sound it made was exactly the same. Composers and performers were practically begging for an instrument that could express true dynamic emotion, something that could whisper super delicately one moment and then just absolutely roar the next.
Which brings us to Section 2, Meet the Inventor, the Unknown Genius.
The answer to that massive historical problem? It's a guy named Bartolomeo Cristofori. He was an expert harpsichord maker employed by the super-powerful Medici family in Florence, Italy, right around the year 1700. But listen, Cristofori wasn't just some skilled woodworker. The guy was an absolute master engineer. He realized that to fix this whole volume problem, he had to completely abandon the traditional plucking mechanism of the harpsichord. His historical genius was, at its core, a mechanical one. And that perfectly bridges the gap between our two core inquiries, who invented it and how does it actually work.
Let's get into the gears of it all. Section 3. How the mechanism works. Engineering the piano.
Because figuring out who did it is really only half the story, right? We have to investigate the how. And this is where Cristofori's true brilliance shines. Instead of plucking the string, he designed this entirely new, crazy system where hitting a key launches a small, felt-covered hammer to actually strike the string. But here's the massive engineering hurdle he ran into. If a hammer just stays pressed against the string after hitting it, it instantly mutes the sound. It's like putting your hand on a ringing bell. So Cristofori invented this thing called an escapement mechanism. It's this brilliant little piece of engineering that lets the hammer strike the string and then instantly fall back down, even if your finger's still holding the key down. That lets the string resonate freely and sustain the note.
And this exact breakthrough is what gave the instrument its original name, the gravicembalo col piano e forte, which basically translates to a harpsichord that plays soft and loud. It perfectly answers that core quote from our text, who invented piano and how it works. Through this wildly complex action of levers, hammers, and springs, your physical touch is directly translated into acoustic sound. Hit the key hard, the hammer flies up fast, and boom, you get a loud note. Press it gently, you get this gorgeous, soft whisper. For the very first time in keyboard history, human intent and mechanical reality were totally unified.
And that leads us to our final takeaway. Section 4, the lasting impact, musical heritage.
So I want to leave you with this. How does understanding this mysterious origin and mechanism change the way we actually hear the piano today? Think about it. Every single modern piano, from those massive, sleek concert grands to the beat-up upright sitting in your local church, they all still rely on the exact same fundamental engineering puzzle that Cristofori solved over 300 years ago. Knowing that totally transforms the experience, doesn't it? It isn't just a pretty piece of parlor furniture, it's a towering marvel of human achievement. So the next time you're listening to a piano piece, pay close attention to those sudden shifts, going from quiet intimacy straight into thundering power. And just remember the sheer mechanical genius it takes to strike even a single chord.